on this computer. Okay, we're recording so that way you can get it. All right, so I see you have a project, senior project. Okay,
Yes,
that's good.
but it doesn't let me click as a file, and it's telling me like right here. If I want to click it, I have to create it like a virtual host, but I created, and when I click that virtual host, I cannot still run it.
Okay, so click on the virtual host real quick. Let's see what comes up. And if you do right click, you can open a new tab, and then that way we can.
I think that's it.
Okay, try going to up in your address bar. See if you can go to
Okay.
localhost/senior project.
Okay. Like this?
Yep. Okay, so this actually is working then. Um, I'm not sure why you don't have the link just yet, but you do. Okay. So you have missed opportunity in page 1. Okay, that's a good start. Okay. So this is because you don't have a default page. A default page is going to be something like index.html or index.php. Because it's not seeing one of those specific things, it's going to show you a list of your files instead of showing you a web page. Okay, does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, I
Okay.
saw that index PHP in the web server. Is that
Mhm.
the one you're talking about?
So it would just need to be a file in here. And if you do like index.php, it will come up and display that page instead of this list of pages.
I still didn't get it really. Like
Okay.
what I need to do exactly so I can see
Okay.
this.
All right. So let's go to a Windows Explorer,
Okay.
your file Explorer,
Uh-huh.
and I'll show you where you need to go to put the file.
Okay. I am in the WAMP file right
Uh,
now.
can you share your desktop instead of just Chrome? Because I can't see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to change the screen that I'm sharing, right?
Right. Right.
Mm, How do you change the screen sharing? I'm trying to. Okay, figured it.
I think you gotta click on the share again and then say share and change the application it shows. If you
Okay.
choose desktop, it lets you share everything at once. But I
Oh,
see
okay.
but I see everything, so
So, do you see the ramp file right now?
no ma'am.
Okay. How
Oh,
about now?
now I see it.
Okay.
Okay, so under www,
Uh huh.
if you go under there and then you have your senior project. Okay, so hold on. You see how in this file it has index.php?
Yes.
Okay, so a web server has what they call default files.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to a folder, if you don't specify a file name inside that folder, it says, well, is one of those default files exist inside this folder? If it does, I'll display that file. Okay, so when you just go to localhost, it takes you to this folder and it sees that index.php file. It says, okay, I'm going to display that. That's one of my default files.
Okay.
Okay, there's a lot of different default files you can have. Um, index.php is going to be one on a PHP server. You can have index.htm and index.html. You just have to have one of those. If you go inside your senior-project folder, you'll notice you don't have an index.php or index.html or any of those type files, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why it's coming up with that list of files instead of the the file itself that you want to display.
I
Okay,
see.
all right. So yeah, that's just what that's there for. Okay.
So how can I fix this? Do I just need to copy this file in there?
Well, that file is very specific, so I wouldn't copy that file.
Okay.
If you want to display, if you go back to your senior-project folder real quick, if you want page 1 to show up and be like the default home page, just change that to be index.php, and then that one will show.
Okay, so I just need to rename it. That's all it
Yep,
is.
yep. That's all you got to do.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you go back to your web browser,
Okay.
okay, and reload, boom. All right. So now you're seeing that index.php page, but you've got the parse error. Okay, so let's bring up that index.php file. Let's take a look at what you've got going on. Keep an editor, say no, and then you'll just need to go in and open up that what's now the index.php. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so it says it didn't like.
Should I
Okay.
change server name maybe?
Nope, nope. Server name is fine. So
Okay.
if you look at your error message, it says it had an unexpected object operator. I think is what the error message was. Can you go back? I'll show you what it is. I see the error, but I want to just make sure I get the error, its name itself right, so you know what to look for. Okay. So syntax error, unexpected, and then it has that little dash with the greater than symbol, right? Which is
Yeah.
an object operator. Okay. So if you go back to your source code, the thing it doesn't like is if you look on line 18, you'll see you have statement equals PDO, that little arrow, it gives you the query, and
Yeah.
then you've got the little arrow again, right? You see that?
Yes.
Okay, it doesn't like the second one.
Oh, why is that?
PHP does not do a good job of doing what they call stringing commands. So some languages allow you to say this dot and a method that returns a value dot, and you can call a method of an object that gets called and stuff.
Oh,
PHP doesn't like to do that.
okay. So one at a time.
So yeah, one command at a time. So if you go from your second arrow, if you go right before that, and just don't highlight it, just
Okay.
put your cursor right before it. Okay, do a semicolon, and then hit the next line, and then do $STMT for statements.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so that's going to then fetch data from your statement. Okay.
Okay.
You should only be getting one row because you have your primary key is specified.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because like
that.
this is the like the missed opportunity, whatever like we
Mhm.
upload as like that little paragraph, the title and the question.
Okay.
So after we display this, like how can I use the CSS to like make him a little bit fancier and stuff?
Okay. So your CSS is going to control all of how a web page looks.
Mm-hmm.
So your CSS can control how big your text is. It can
Yeah.
control the font that your text is in. It can control your color, your size and spacing.
Yes.
So you just have to kind of figure, okay, what do I want to look like? And what I do personally is I sketch things out so I kind of have an idea of what I want to look like, and then I make it happen.
Yeah, I like to play around with it more
Yeah.
than anything so I can see what's going on. But what I'm trying to say is like when I go to HTML file, do I need to like, because like I did it built in for now, I will
Mhm.
just add an extra CSS file.
Okay.
So should I do like a, how I say it, maybe like what they were calling, I don't remember.
Um, so the I always recommend using an external file
Yeah, that's
for
what I'm gonna do.
for CSS. That way, you can use the same file for all your different web files.
Okay.
The other thing that you want to look at, because I believe Kate had set up, um, what was it? I believe she had set up a template in Bootstrap. Sorry, I just totally blinked on its name. I think she has set up a default template in Bootstrap. Bootstrap has a lot of styling information inside of it.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so she should be able to help you with that in how do I line things up and get things in columns and rows correctly? How do I use headers to make things bigger and smaller? How do I, and they have a whole section on forms, which is going to be real important because you're going to have those big buttons to choose from. And so you want to kind of know how are you going to do that
Yeah,
and that
because
way.
like when I code for the PHP, like in the, how I say it, like the addition to this, because
Mhm,
after I fetch it, I have to form the like the selections,
mhm, mhm.
and then I'm gonna have to have like a submit button, and then so it can pull it to the answer.
Right. And so you have your options for your questions in um, uh, in in your database. So you'll be able to dynamically create them, and Kate will be able to say, okay, this is how we're going to make a radio button. And so when you do, there's a command called echo. And echo is going to echo to the screen or write to the screen whatever you put there. And so you can put the information from your database and write it to the screen. Um, and that gives you a direct link, for lack of a better term, to be able to do that.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Like the echo in here.
Exactly. Yeah. Right there. Yep. Yep. Exactly. So you can put, in that case, it's a literal string. So it's exactly what you put inside your quotes. But if you look at the example on 14, you have a literal string plus something that's coming back from an error message.
Yes.
Okay. So if you save this real quick, um, now you'll notice that you didn't get an error on line 14. That should display a blank page. There's nothing, all you should get is probably connected successfully. Um, because it does echo if you make a good connection. Uh, excuse me.
So should I get rid of it or?
No, keep it for now. It's good for testing.
Okay.
You want to you want to make sure that you are properly connected. So,
But
but you
I wanted to, I'm sorry, I wanted to like display it displayed so I can see actually it's
okay.
doing it.
Well, let's get to that in just a second.
Okay.
Let's test to make sure we got this part working first.
Okay. Mm, uh,
Uh,
I think,
Still doesn't like line 18. Okay, let's go back real quick to the
okay.
source code. Let me pull up one of my files where. Aha.
Oh, I think I see something, but
Okay, so
I need
I
to on the line 19. Is this correct, or it has to be equal to?
no, that should be correct.
Okay.
And it's going to return something, but I have. Um, I'm going to share my screen just so you can see what I'm doing and how it's very similar to your. Oh, uh,
Because
okay,
like if
yeah.
I
Let
yeah.
me share my screen real quick, and I'll show you what I'm doing, which is just a little bit different. And I
Okay, if
think,
it's gonna work, I can change it anytime, you know.
yeah. So I think this is where you're having your problem.
Okay.
So here I have I this is just me. I put my SQL statement in an external thing.
Hmm.
Um, I have my connection, which you have, and then instead of calling query, I call prepare, and I pass in my variable that has my SQL statement. Then I call statement execute, and then I personally get fetch all because I get a huge amount of data.
Yeah.
Um, and I go through that in a loop. If you say fetch, you only get one row, but you're only dealing with one row, so that's not a problem. So I think what you need is your connection. I think you called yours con. You had, I think it was PDO. I need to make sure what it is. This information here, this DB read, is an external file, which is what your first like 14 lines of code, 12, 14 lines of code.
Yeah.
That's okay. I do that, and then I have it in an external file. That way, every file, just I say include once this external file, and it
Mm.
brings that data in and works for me, so I don't have to add it to everyone. So if you're wondering like where's my whatever, that's where it is. Um, but let me put this in the chat window just so you can kind of see.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Go to chat. Okay, you can share your screen and let's take a look at the chat and see if that helps bring stuff in.
Okay. So you said instead of like the
So you have on line 7, you say you have new PDO, but you create that into a variable, you store it into a variable that's $con. So you should have on line 18, that should be $con, because
oh,
that's the variable that you put the PDO object in.
do I need to say new because this I already created database and everything, or
The new is because whenever you create a object from a class, you're saying new and then the class name. And so that's why you have it up there on line 7, because this is an object-oriented version. Okay, so if you save this, let's see if this works now. Because there's a couple different ways of doing this. Um, I think you should now have an error on line 19, but I'm not positive.
yeah, I have more stuff.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So
There's one on line
14.
14, 18, and 18 again.
Okay. All right. So let me look something up real quick.
Because if this one works, it's literally the same thing for other pages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then like there's two more steps to do, basically like the saving the comments, displaying back and forth, and like the getting the answers.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because I don't use the query command. It's just a little bit different. Um,
Yeah, I was just Googling it because I have no idea about PHP. I just throw anything that I found and I give it a try, you know.
okay. Okay. So let I'm gonna see if I can do something here. I'm gonna request remote control. All right. Let's see. Where's no? Where is how? That's not what I want. Where's your text editor? Are you sharing your whole screen or only sharing one application at a time?
I think I was one application at a time. You want me to switch it?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay, so okay, new share. It doesn't show my desktop. I don't know why.
Does it show? Mine is the very first application in that. Like, there's a whole box that comes up.
Like a screen.
Mm-hmm. And it
Okay.
just shows whatever's currently on my desktop. So it's not like, there we go. All right. So if we do row, comment that out, and get message doesn't take a value. It just gets information.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
it just displays information. You can't set information with it, which was that issue. So that's why it said get message expects exactly 0 parameters, and you gave it 1. That's why it didn't like that.
Oh, okay.
Undefined variable con. We'll take a look at that in a second. Okay, now we're closer. Undefined variable con on line 18. Ooh, access denied. Okay, we'll figure that out in just a second. Okay. You have con here, and I think it's declaring the variable here, and it's not liking that. So I'm going to say I think this is going to be it. So we can get rid of. Whew. Okay, so we fixed one of the errors. We got a little bit closer. All right, so I think this error, call to function query on a null object, is because it denied access to your root database or to your database. So let's come back here. Oops, nope. Come here. If I do well, that got in. Where's your database in here?
Oh, it's in. It should be in the MySQL. That's what I picked.
Oh,
It's not.
okay.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. So let's take a. Oops. All right, that's mine. Hold on. Okay. So you have your senior project. You've got localhost. You have a password that's a blank. It needs to be empty.
Oh, okay. I cannot even put space. It counts as a character.
Right.
Oh.
So now let's see if
No.
we.
What?
Okay. It still doesn't like that.
I think it couldn't find the senior project for some reason.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm thinking. So localhost root. Let's go. We have that. That's not what I want. What was that? Why does it keep on? Privileges. Okay, root has all privileges. That's what I expect. Oh, sweet. I don't have that. I must be using. I must be using an older version, which is fine. I understand. Oh, I get it. Okay,
I
so
just downloaded, so yeah.
we got localhost, we got root, we have that. We use server name here. That's fine. Database name is just for giggles. Once again, I keep all this stuff in variables so I can reference things.
Mm-hmm.
That okay. Because I'm going to come over here and test is another built-in one. Oh no, it's not. You don't have test. I take it back. Unknown database. Let me take a look at. Oops. Why is it? Um, just to make sure I want to kind of bring it up side by side. That way I can look and see, okay, you have MySQL, that's right. Host, that's right. Database name, that's right.
It has another semicolon at the end. Does that make any difference?
Where
Right after, like right there.
here? Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's because they put this is one whole variable string, and so the semicolon ends that line of code.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's outside the quotes, not inside the quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked at the same thing when I looked at it, so it's like, oh wait, no, we're good. I was right there. Oops. I was right there. Why is it not allowing you? To connect. Interesting.
It let me connect it, but then there's no data.
But to not, well, I didn't connect to the database. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go in and ask that question. Um, um, SQL tables. I think it's show tables. Yeah. Oh no, not tables. Um, show databases. Yes. Unexpected N. Just a second. As. Information schema, MySQL performance schema test. Huh?
I think I know what's going on.
Uh,
It's like when you first log in from the MyPHP admin,
uh-huh.
MariaDB is selected by default. So I think it's going in there directly instead of going into MySQL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these are, yep, it's picking MariaDB instead of MySQL.
SQL.
Okay. So, okay, so we just need to, remember how if we come back here to MySQL,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm assuming inside of senior project, you've got, uh, let's see, got your questions. Yep, you've got your questions. Um, and then under options, you've got your options, so that's good. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to say export this all out. Format's going to be SQL. Oops, no, back up. We need to do the whole thing. Export. Okay. You go to Maria. Da, 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 da. Import. Uh, choose file. There we go. Downloads your project SQL file. See if we can get this to.
I think I have to create the senior project first.
Yeah, you are correct. You are correct. Okay, so database name is senior project. Create, import. Boom, there we go. That's looking better. Now we come here to structure. We see that. We see options. Let's, if we come here,
The database name.
oh, that's right. You are correct. Database name is db name. Senior project dot question. Oh, that's because I believe the table name is questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's that's easy. Okay, now you're getting closer. Now we're connected to the right database server. We've got that set up. Don't need that. Don't need that. Look at that. I'm not sure what it means, but
Oh, I know what's happening. I don't think you excluded the for each loop.
okay, so you're thinking if you just say like that.
Maybe. No.
Oops. Data. Oops, that's not what we wanted. Data
And it's
was one.
I think is just showing the question ID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you came over here and in questions went to SQL and said where question ID equals 1 and said go, this is row index 0, this is row index 1, 2, 3, or you could specify, for example, title.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Okay.
So yeah, so you have one of the cool things that PHP lets you do is you can index an array by a numeric reference or by an associative reference. And data coming out of SQL looks like an associative array where the column name is your associative key for your array of your current record.
Okay. So like, literally, I have to do the exact same stuff for like the options and like the.
Now, for options, you're going to do a little bit different. I would recommend using like this fetch all
Okay.
because you're going to have 3 or 4 options for every question, right?
Yeah, it's 3 each.
Okay, so that's gonna mean, hey, we want to, because we're gonna be getting 3 options, you want to use like a fetch all and then use that for each loop like I kind of showed you. So you
Hmm.
can go, okay, here's the first row and I'm going to print it out. Here's the second row, I'm going to print it out. Here's the third one, I'm going to print it out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but
Okay.
how am I gonna exactly do that? Like first for first 3, I can, but then I'm gonna have to go like 4, 5, 6.
Okay. So what you would do is you're going to have a new, I'm just going to write a SQL query like this.
Mhm.
And it's going to look something like, um, and this is actually how, be honest, this is how I do it. So I would say question ID
Mhm.
equals 1. Okay. Then you have here select star from questions where question ID equals $ question ID. Okay.
Mhm.
So this way you're going to put that variable into your string. Then you're
Okay.
going to come down here and you're going to say the same type thing. Select star from options where question ID equals $ um, question ID.
Oh, okay. So it will bring me all 3 of them.
That's right. So, and it's only going to be those that are relevant to that question. When you go and say, oh, I've got, I want to change this to be question 3, for
Mhm.
example. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you only have to make that change one time. It updates both queries for you, and
Yeah.
you're only going to get the options that are related to question 3.
Then do I need to do a loop? It's for just
Mm-hmm.
echoing, right?
Yep. So yeah, that for each loop, and
Uh-huh.
what you do is you would build a form on the outside of the loop, and then the inside of the loop, you would say, okay, now I'm going to loop through my options 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to, in some cases, I need to write a literal string using that echo statement. That's going to
Mhm.
be something like echo input type equals radio, so that you have like a radio button.
Yeah.
Um, and you do all that stuff, and then in the text for radio button, you write out your under options. Let's see here, option text.
Okay.
So that's I think what I would wind up doing.
Okay. I'll probably Google some stuff for that too.
Yeah, yeah. So, but this definitely.
So like kind of like I can do it in a way that it's like object-oriented programming, so I can pick
Mm-hmm.
the radio button and then code the stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
Same goes for like the
Yeah.
button for submitting and stuff.
Yeah. And if you go to if you talk to Kate, um, she's already done some of this stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna like what I'm gonna do is I just wanna get it like the in a point that it works. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
put a comment in, display it back out and stuff like that for each
Right.
piece. Then I can send all these files to her
Mm-hmm.
and
Then she can work on.
yeah.
Okay. And you're going to need to help her understand the PHP code, and
Okay.
she's going to need you to help understand the CSS code. But whenever you write something in that's a form inside of HTML, you have to have a form tag, and then they've got their whole set of styles here. So if you notice, this doesn't look like a regular form. Okay, it's styled to match their form.
Yeah.
Well, if you come down here, and not a big fan of their layout. They have major sections, minor sections, and then sub-minor sections on the far right-hand side. So this is components, forms, and then internally you can come down here and see radio buttons. Okay, so this shows you how to do a radio button. Um, they use div class custom control, custom radio, input type equals radio. Uh, then there's so that's just a little circle part. The label is the text part that you see. And if you use a label, it lets you pick. You can click on that instead of just a little button. It also shows you how to do them side by side. I don't think you want to do that. Uh, you don't need to worry about switches because the switch is like a yes/no toggle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's not going to fit for what you're trying to do. Um, they do have selection menus, which is like a drop down, but for 3, I wouldn't do a selection menu. I just do the radio buttons.
Yeah.
Um,
So on the radio buttons, it's like it's just writing the text in it. How I can do the PHP part in it. So
mhm,
it's from database.
yeah. So, but anyway, that's just kind of give you a little bit heads up of where that is and stuff, um, and how those things work because that's you have to be able to do some part of it. She has to be able to do some part of it, and you're going to need to work together to kind of figure that part out. But that should give you a really good head start as to what's being put in. And
Okay.
then, like I said, you saw they use the for each command, and that would let you go through each individual set, which would be more important with where you have the 3 options. When you're just displaying the question, you only have one option. It doesn't matter, but you're always only going to have the one option. But when you have the when you have the question, you only have one. When you have the options, you have 3. Then you're going to need to have it. And that what's nice about that is if someone says, "Hey, we really want to give a 4th option here," you can do that. It doesn't matter. You're not like looking for 1, 2, and 3. You're looking for as many as there are based upon are they attached to this question ID.
I see. So like when I do that for each loop, okay, I'm trying to make it sense. So as you did it this way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh, I didn't mean to delete stuff.
For each is one word.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what's happening.
Oops. Sorry, I clicked on something on accident.
That's okay. So when I do this, it was the way you did it was mm, data as and then
As row. Yep.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and do like question ID in here.
No, that's gonna be later. So you need to close your parentheses.
Okay, that's what I was wanted
Hmm.
to understand.
Yep. Then you have your braces, and
Mhm.
then inside of your braces, you'll say something like $row, um, option ID, or however whatever day you're looking at. So it'll be row, square bracket. I think the first one we want to look at probably is like echo. You want to echo out um, uh, row or $row, yeah, and then do option text. Now, go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, as an associative array, you need the associative key option text needs to be inside of quotes, and it can be
Oh,
either single or double. It doesn't matter. Uh, you're in overwrite mode.
oh, really?
Yeah, you see, it just overrode everything you're doing.
That's okay. I'll just fix it. Oh no.
And hold on, hit Control Z, undo,
Okay.
Control Z again. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. On line 29, your data needs to have a $sign in front of it.
Oh, okay. Oh no. How I do insert? I don't know.
Hit your insert key,
Okay, here you go.
and now you're in insert mode instead of overwrite mode. All right, and then what you probably want to do is on line 20, line 28, you need to essentially copy lines 20 and 21 and insert them and paste them in line 28. Because you need to do your query and get your fetch data from your query. So what you'd essentially do, let's see if I can grab your screen here,
Okay, so
is just come here and copy and paste that. But instead of having this, you say $SQL, because that's your SQL statement.
yeah.
And then here, instead of saying fetch, you fetch all.
Okay.
Okay. Now that, if we come back here, what? Oh. Okay. So here you have, now we haven't put any like paragraphs or line breaks or anything like that in it, which is why it's all kind of jumbled. If we were to say, I'm going to put these on paragraphs so they're a little bit easier to see.
Oh, I can use like the HTML like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what's gonna keep them in.
Now you can read them.
Okay. So I can, yeah, I can do it this way and copy paste for each. Then it's just left with the submit button
Mm-hmm.
and the comments. If we figure that out too, I think the pages are ready. It's just I can send it to her and she can do the bootstrap part.
Yeah, so you'll probably need to help her set up her database and get all that stuff all connected. So that way she can test it on hers, because otherwise she's going to be creating stuff and not have a chance to test it and see, okay, did this match and fit? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do that. And then I just want to come up here, comment that out just so it makes it a little bit easier to see. Title, and what was the other one I was looking
I
at?
think we need the descriptive and the
Descriptive,
question.
or the question, yeah. So you can come in here and say, question, and then, you know, so you kind of see what it's doing. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So yeah, so you get some good options in what you can do. Um, uh, how you want to handle this directly. If we had more time, like you said, we could do more of like an object-oriented type of approach, so that
mhm.
the data and um, this CSS and implementation are more separated. But I don't think we have the time to do something like that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to like do those radio buttons.
Mm,
Can I do this same PHP file?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can make sure it's insert the answers when it's selected with the submit button.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think I'm just gonna try to figure out how to do the build the comment box and everything and see if it's gonna let the comments in.
Okay.
I think after that it's just copying and pasting for each pages.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, you need to make sure that Kate's involved with that part, and because if she's doing the styling and front end work, you two are going to be very tightly coupled at this point. Um, so whenever she can jump online and do stuff like this, that would be really good. Um,
Okay.
uh, how would you guys share screens if you needed to look at each other at the same time? That's my question. Um, I think this link you guys can access at any time. So
Mm-hmm.
you actually might be able to go in and just jump on like this particular um, link, so you guys can share a screen that way. I don't think I have to be here for it.
Oh, okay.
Not,
Then that would be really good.
yeah,
So we
not
can just
not positive, but I think that would work for you guys.
okay.
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 So that should give you guys a few ways to move forward, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to figure out the other stuff if I can. Hopefully, then I think we're good to go.
Good.
Thank you for helping.
You're very welcome.
Are you gonna upload this to YouTube
I,
again?
I can do that if you like.
Yeah, that would be really good if I need to go and look back.
Okay, then I will. Let me go ahead and as soon as we get done, I'll stop the recording, download
Okay.
it, and then work on uploading it to YouTube for you.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your day. If you need any help with anything else, just let me know.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.